Good afternoon, families. I want to take some time to share some specifics from the middle school, high school in terms of our reopening plan from the communications that Mrs. Kotlowski has sent. And so, in our update, which now that we're in July going into August, you're going to be getting an update starting with this one and then weekly to clarify details as we go. And as always, if you have questions, please make sure you give me a call, 608-565-2256, extension 102, or email at mbecker@necedaschools.org. So just a couple highlights from here, as I know you'll want to read through this, but in our plan, Mrs. Kotlowski had shared that we're planning for a couple different scenarios. One, if we're fully operational and in person with a low spread of the COVID-19 virus, and then as we move to medium and high spread levels in our area, we move from a blended model to fully virtual. So in my update here, I've also linked some of the communications from the district perspective for Mrs. K, just so in case you either missed them or they're, as I am, they're stuck in cyberspace somewhere, you have another link for them. So at the middle school, high school, when we say as a district they're planning a blended model, what we're planning is that we're going to have students in cohorts of A and B, meaning that on Monday and Wednesday, one set of students would come to school, and on Tuesday and Thursday, the other set would come to school. And then when we do have school on Fridays, we would alternate. And the purpose of that is for social distancing purposes and to make sure that we have the space that we need for kids at that age level to be healthy and safe. And so we had, obviously we had two priorities. We want to get kids back to learning in the building, but we also want to do so as safely as possible. And so how that's going to look is, what we're planning is that, when students are in person, their day will be fairly normal in terms of, what it was previously. And then we will have specific activities they would participate in when they are at home virtually on the next day. And so we're working out some communication patterns and some other specifics so that we can allow, we can have more streamlined communication with families and also access to technology and know exactly where things are at. Because I know that when we had our emergency closure, one thing that was frustrating for families was that, there was a email for this, and then there was a website to go to for this and other things. And so our staff is really working hard to get everything in line and in one spot for families and for kids. So I'll be sharing more with that as we move into August, and I keep updating you with things. And so there's a survey that we really want that I really need families to complete. It's our middle school, high school fall planning survey. And I'll go to that in 1 second. But one thing that I really want to make sure of is that we're planning with as best we can with family schedules and looking out for other family members that you have. So I'll get into that in 1 second. But another thing that was shared from the board level last night is that they approved the requirement for staff and students to wear face coverings when they're in the building. And the reason for that is specifically, we want our staff to be safe. We want our students to be safe. We know from CDC and our state health department and every health expert that if we wear face coverings when we can't socially distance, or when we're in situations like the hallway, for example, when you don't know when you're going to bump into somebody, it's a much better chance to mitigate the virus and keep people safe. And so we want our staff to be able to teach. We want our kids to be able to come to school when they're able to. And we don't want to have a situation where we're forced to go to a virtual mode. And so in order to do that, we want to take every precaution necessary. So I just want to share the survey quick. It's linked right up here in the newsletter. And then it's also linked at the bottom. If you forget about it, you see it'll be down here. But I'm just going to share that really quick. And the survey some of the big questions in here that I really want to know from families are, is there a difference between a Monday, Wednesday, or a Tuesday, Thursday scenario for your family? Is there a daycare situation that we would need to be aware of, or parent working versus not on those days? So that's something that I would want to know. Also, in my head, I'm thinking families would want, if you have a sixth grader and an eighth grader, you'd want them both in school the same day, and you'd want them in the same cohort. So, but there also may be situations that you don't want that to happen. So I have a couple different options that I put in the survey for you to fill out. And then if you have any specific needs or things, there is a comment area for you. And then there's also a question revolving around face coverings. One things we know is that there are some medically fragile students who may have trouble breathing or may be unable to remove a face covering without assistance. And so if there are any needs in that regard, we would ask you to put those in here. And then just a question about school bus. We want to know if you're going to be using transportation or not. Certainly on a school bus, students would be required to wear masks, and it's difficult for social distancing on buses. So we want to just be upfront with that and find out if you're going to be using bus transportation, so we know what that looks like in the coming weeks here. And then I have a couple questions around technology. How would you, and communication. So what would you like to get some personal professional development on as parents and learn more about? And so I have some different tools that we use that you can just check in and say, yeah, I'd like to know more about that, and it tells me that we need to provide those opportunities for families. And then additionally, with communication, what are the best ways for you to get communication from staff and from the school? And so we're gonna work to streamline that as much as possible for families, so that because there's a lot of things going on, and we understand that, and we're trying to make the learning experience as best as we possibly can. And so then towards the end of the survey, I have some just some questions about after school activities. We're particularly talking about activities that bring kids together, like football, volleyball, and where there could be some contact. And what is your feeling about those? So we kind of want to get a pulse of the community on that. And so and then finally, there's a spot where you can just physically put in comments, questions, or concerns about something. If there's something you specifically want me to get you want me to get back to you on, please make sure you let me know that. So that's our update for this week. It's a big one because there's a lot of moving parts, and it's undocumented territory for almost all educators, not only in Wisconsin, but also in the United States. So, but we want to work with you as best as we can to provide meaningful instruction and meaningful learning experiences and in a safe manner. So there's a couple other notes that I have in here listed about driver's education and a couple other things. So if you have any questions in regards to the information, or you have questions about the survey, please make sure that you just reach out to me. I'm certainly glad to sit down and have a phone conversation with you. So that being said, one other thing I want to mention is we are providing face coverings for students. It's not the ones that they have to wear, but we got some cardinal face coverings, and we think they look pretty good. It's pretty comfortable. I've been wearing mine, and so we were wearing them at the school board meeting last night when we had those out. So just wanted to make families aware that too. The state's also providing face coverings for students too. I believe 2 each, but students could certainly choose to get their own face coverings and make sure that they're comfortable and things. And so we'll be sending out more information in regards to all those things as we head into August here. But just want to get this initial communication out. I know you've been receiving a lot of communication from school, so take your time with this, but please make sure that you fill out that survey. That's extremely important information for our planning, extremely helpful. So with that, I just want to say take care, be safe, and make it count, Cardinals. Thank you very much. Have a great day.